Welcome back, Tigers. If your sales team uses opportunities in Salesforce to manage their deals and they're not currently using the Forecast tab, they are missing out. This video will show you how to set up forecasts and quotas in Salesforce so the team can see where they are at versus their quota and manage their pipeline. The Forecast tab is an extremely useful tool to make pipeline review meetings more focused and efficient. Let's go check out how we can set up our sales teams for success. Here we are in Salesforce, and our first step is to enable forecasts. We'll go into setup, and then we will type forecast into the quick find, and we'll go to forecast settings. We can see that forecasts are not enabled. We will click active, and then we'll click done here. And then you can see that we have two forecast types that were automatically set up for us, one called opportunity amount and one called opportunity revenue. Now you can use these forecast types if this fits your requirements. So the first one here, opportunity amount, uses the opportunity object. It's going to use the amount field on your opportunity and the close date to determine what date to put the opportunity in when you're looking at your forecast tab. It's going to use the user role for the hierarchy. So don't worry if you don't have roles set up yet, we will show you how to set those up. And then these columns right here say, do you or don't you have a custom filter? So this is so you can only make certain opportunities count in the forecast. For example, if you have some opportunities that are maybe for renewals or maybe for somebody who's no longer going to have your service and you want to filter those out from counting towards the sales rep's quota, you can add filters into the forecast type. And then we can see that these columns are actually duplicated here. That is a mistake. Let's refresh this browser and see if that goes away. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so we don't have that duplicated here anymore. So you should only see custom filter and custom column once. And then we can see that both of these forecast types are active. Now it looks like the only difference between these forecast types is your custom column. There is a custom column added to the first one and not to the second one. So there's a couple of things I want to go over and make sure you're aware before you even start creating forecast types. You need to make sure that you have your requirements set because you can't go in and modify these forecasts without having to do a lot of work to create a new one. So let me review what I found out the hard way. All right, so if you need to edit the object or the measure meaning which field you're reading from in the opportunity that tells you the amount of the opportunity, or the date, or the hierarchy, or the filter, you cannot do any of those things without deactivating the forecast. Now, if you go to deactivate the forecast type, you're going to get this message. You'll probably get a mild heart attack. And this is correct. Deactivating the forecast type deletes all related forecasts, the quotas, and the adjustments. So if you click deactivate here and you have quotas imported for years and you have managers making adjustments, if you don't know what all this means, we'll get into it soon. You're going to have to re-import all that data into Salesforce. You're going to have to literally do a migration from the old forecast type that you're deactivating to the new forecast type that you set up. So just be aware, you can't make modifications to any of these things without re-importing all of that data. All right, so let's go ahead and create a new forecast type to show you how that works. We're going to first select which object. So we have opportunity and opportunity product. Now, if we were doing a forecast based on fields on the opportunity product, like product family or something like that, then it makes sense to choose opportunity product here. We don't have that requirement. We don't need to go any lower than our opportunities. So we're going to choose the opportunity object. Now in the second screen where we choose the measure, this is what field do you want the forecast to go by in order to quantify the amounts of the opportunities. You may have a custom currency field on your opportunity. If you do, you'll see it here in this dropdown. So you can use any custom field on your opportunity object that is a currency that's not a formula. Just be aware if you have Unlimited or Performance Edition and are looking to leverage Einstein predictive forecasting, at this point in time right now today, July 7th, 2024, you cannot use any other field besides the amount field on the opportunity. Now, next you'll choose your date. We only have a close date on the opportunity. If you have any custom date fields on your opportunity object, those will also show in the drop down here, and you can choose a different field to go by for your forecast if that is your requirement. In the hierarchy section, you will see user role, or you will see territory if you have territory management enabled in your org. If you do not have the role hierarchy set up, we're going to show you how to set up a very simple role hierarchy for your sales team in this video. This section will allow you to filter out certain types of opportunities from counting in the forecast. Now, for our sales reps, they don't get compensated on any opportunity with a type of existing customer dash replacement. So we want to filter these out of the forecast type so that we can give them a really great report that's not artificially inflated with these opportunities in them, and they'll be able to see exactly where they're at against their quota. We're going to call this revenue estimate by month, and you can see that you need to avoid using reserved words. This is a recommendation from Salesforce. I don't know why. I'm assuming because there's something hard-coded somewhere, but you can't use revenue or overlay in your forecast type names. This is where you can see all of your settings, and then you can edit any if necessary. And this is the rows that we're going to show on the opportunity related list that's in the forecast tab. You can come back at any point in time after the forecast type is activated and edit this, so don't worry if it's not set up exactly the way you want it or you're not sure. We'll click done, and now we can see our third forecast type right down here, and it's currently inactive. Now our last step is to activate our forecast type. And you can deactivate this forecast type without hurting anything, as long as you haven't imported any forecast quotas, which we will do here in a second. So if you forgot to do something or you need to change something, feel free to activate and deactivate. I will tell you when it's the point of no return where you will have to do a migration. Our next section, Enable Adjustments in Forecasts, we will be covering this in a future video. We highly recommend that you roll this out as a phase 2 thing when you're rolling out forecasts and quotas to your sales teams. This next section just tells Salesforce how you want to roll up your forecast categories. Now's a good time to discuss what are these forecast categories and where do they come from? If we hop over to our opportunity object, we're going to go to the stage field. And we see here that we have a forecast category column, and you can edit that forecast category at any point in time for any of your stages. Now, that forecast category tells Salesforce the likelihood in which you think that this is going to close. And then there's a probability associated with each of these stages. So if for us in our org, prospecting and qualification and needs analysis are in the forecast category of pipeline. So pipeline is an initial stage of your sales process. It has a really low probability or likelihood of closing when it's in one of these stages. And so pipeline is in its own bucket when you're looking at a forecast. Now, best case, these are the stages that are a little bit more advanced. And if everything goes well, these are going to close. These are going to have a middle of the road probability. And then when you get into negotiations and contract signatures, that's really considered commit. That means that our likelihood of closing is pretty good, and we really think that we're going to win this deal on the date that we've set on the opportunity. Closed means closed won, and omitted is used for closed lost. Now, a Salesforce sales rep, Salesforce user can modify the forecast category on their opportunities to move them around in the forecast. So they could have an opportunity that's only at value prop. They haven't gotten to proposal price quote yet, but they know this customer really wants to move fast and they really want to close this deal. So they could move it to commit. And then in your forecast tab, this opportunity would show in the commit category. If you want to go the other way, maybe something happened with a deal and this one that's in negotiation review, it's not going to close. Maybe something happened internally at the company and you want to completely omit it from the forecast. So the salesperson can change the forecast category to omitted or pipeline to move it to a different category and have it be looked at differently in the forecast. So forecast categories are really important. It's important that everybody understands the definitions of them. You may have different ways that you're looking at your forecast categories, or you may even have different names for them. If you have different terminology that you use internally and pipeline, best case, commit, omitted, and closed doesn't work for you, you can change what those values are. So there is a forecast category field on the opportunity. And this is where you can either add more forecast categories or change the names of these or delete them altogether. So these are pretty much the standard forecast categories that you see across all different industries in all different sales teams. Now, if you make modifications here, keep it simple. You do not want to create a forecast category for every stage that you have in your Salesforce. That doesn't make any sense and defeats the purpose of this field. This field is used to give you a really good idea of what is going to close in this quarter or month and what is in my open pipeline bucket. Now let's go back to our forecast settings and let's talk about our category rollups. So we have a choice between cumulative or single. If you choose single, then you're only going to see one forecast category in each column. So your commit column will only contain your commit ops. Your best case column will only contain your best case opportunities. If you go cumulative, your commit column will include closed plus commit. Your best case column will include closed plus commit plus best case. And then your open pipeline will include everything except for your closed opportunities. If you're not sure which one your sales team is going to like, recommend this one. This one has been a winner every single time that we've rolled this out to our teams. Now, the default date range, let's talk about that. So we'll come down here, we'll click edit on our default date range. And here you have a choice in your forecast period. You have a choice between monthly or quarterly. If you go, oh, we pay our sales reps quarterly, we're going to make this quarterly, that's fine. But just remember, you can't change this back to monthly like that. You're going to have to do a data migration. You'll have to re-import forecasts. You'll have to migrate them over to a monthly forecast period. Now, in our experience in rolling this out with sales reps who were on a quarterly comp, they ended up switching to monthly so that they could see where they're at month to date, not just quarter to date. So we just really recommend that if you have a quarterly comp in place, recommend setting up monthly. Now this setting you can change without anybody getting upset, meaning without anybody having to do any type of migrations. This has to do with settings of what you want the salesperson to see when they're in the forecast tab. So do you want them to see the current month when they get there? Do you want them to see a month into the future or a month behind? So kind of makes sense for them to see the current month. And then how far out do you want them to see as well by default? They can change all of this. This is just setting up what are the defaults for the users whenever they get to the forecast tab. You can totally ask them their feedback and what they want here. So we'll set this to 3 months and we'll set it on current month and we'll click save. Now you'll see here, changing the forecast period deletes adjustments and quotas for all active forecast types. So this isn't just one type, it's all of them. So you can't have one forecast type quarterly and another one monthly if you have a difference in how your sales teams are paid. So everybody will, if you have some people on a monthly comp plan, everybody will have to be on a monthly forecast period within Salesforce. So I'm going to click I understand, change the settings and delete the data. I don't have anything set up that it's deleting right now, so this is all okay. So I'm going to click edit, and I'm just going to come back here and make sure that it has the settings that I'm expecting. Then our last section down here is show quotas. Now this is just saying, hey, do you want to see quotas in the forecast tab? And the answer is yes. I want to see exactly where I'm at, because the forecast tab, this is one of its best features for our sales teams. You know, you may not have a really sophisticated pipeline review meeting. You may not have a sophisticated way in which you look at forecast categories, but all sales reps want to see where they're at against their quotas. So if you don't do forecast categories and you just do quotas, the forecast tab is still such a huge benefit to your sales team. All right, that's everything that we needed to set up for our quotas. Click save there. And now we're going to do our role hierarchy. We're going to go to roles. We're going to show you our recommendations for how to set one of these up. So our first role is going to be our head of sales. This is the person that's in charge of the whole sales team. And you may have a chief revenue officer, you may have a VP of sales, an EVP, they may get promoted. We don't recommend that you always change the role names to match the exact title of the person that's in charge or that's assigned to this role. You're going to be chasing promotions, chasing people changing teams. We recommend that whenever there's a change like that, that you can use this role name as displayed on reports to put the actual name that the sales team wants to see in their reporting. We've had some sales teams even want to see the person's name. So they may want to see Cheryl's sales team in here. And then if Cheryl leaves and Rachel comes in, then we could just change the role name here to Rachel's sales team, and we wouldn't have to make any other modifications. So really recommend keeping the labels and your role names very high level. Nobody's names should be in a role ever. You will not like yourself later when you have to make changes. We'll click save there. That's going to be the top of our hierarchy. Going to come back to here. Now our next role that we're going to add is a sales manager. We have 2 sales managers and 2 sales reps underneath each manager. So our first role is going to be called Sales Manager Team 1. They are going to report to the head of sales. Then I'll click save there. Then I like to look at this tree view. We'll pop this open. And we can see that here we have our Sales Manager Team 1 reporting to our head of sales. I'm going to add my Sales Team Manager 2. And now we can see that both sales managers report to the head of sales. Our next one is going to be Sales Team 1. And then our next one is going to be Sales Team 2. So this is what our hierarchy looks like. We'll expand this out. Now our next step is to assign our users to each of these roles. We're going to go ahead and assign the head of sales to me. We'll assign the Sales Team Manager 1 to Tara Hunter. Our Sales Team 1 is going to be Calvin and Lila. Our second manager is Nate. And then our second team is going to be Mina and Roger. Now we have everybody assigned to our role hierarchy. Now we're going to come back to our forecast hierarchy. And then we're going to assign the managers to each of these roles. So I am the head of sales. Tara is Sales Team Manager 1. Nate is 2. And then for Sales Team 1, we click Enable Users. We'll see they're already there. And then same for 2, you will see Mina and Roger there. And that's it. So our forecast hierarchy has been set up perfectly and our users are assigned. Now let's go check out our forecast tab. I'm kind of dying to know what it looks like. So there should be a forecast tab on your ribbon. If you don't have it, go ahead and add it or add it to your app. And then when you go to the forecast tab, it's going to automatically show you if you have allow forecasting enabled on your user record. So let's go check and make sure that we have the appropriate permissions set up for our users to be able to access forecasts. So here's our active users that we have, and there's an allow forecasting checkbox on the user record that has to be checked for all of the users that you want to show in the forecast tab. If a user does not have this checked, you will not be able to select them from the list here. So if you can't find somebody, that's the reason why. Another thing that you need to make sure that they have is access to the forecast tab. So you'll come down to the forecast tab settings and you'll want to make sure that they have access to that tab. So it needs to be default on or default off. Another thing that you need to set up is if you want a user to have access to all forecasts, you need to make sure that they have the view all forecasts permission. So go ahead and check that box on their profile. And the last thing that you'll need to make sure is the users will need view access, view roles, and role hierarchy access on their profile as well in order to use forecasts in Lightning Experience. So those are the 4 different permissions that you'll need to check and make sure that you have enabled for your users permission-wise. So let's come over to our forecast tab, and we can see that we have 3 different forecast types here. So when you have more than one forecast type active, the user can toggle between all the different forecast types. If you don't want them all to show, just come here and you can deactivate those other 2. So we're going to only use one forecast type. We'll show you how to work with multiple in other videos. So I'm going to deactivate 2 of these. Okay, so then I'll refresh this tab and then I should only see one tab that says revenue estimate by month, which is perfect. Now we can see I'm on Calvin and I can see the hierarchy here. So I can go from Cheryl to Tara to Calvin. We can see that the forecast tab is defaulting to July and defaulting to 3 months out, which is exactly what we told it to do. We can see our quota column is blank for Calvin. It's because we haven't added any quotas in. All right, let's go ahead and go set up our forecast quotas. We'll come to the quick find and we will look for forecast quotas. And you can see here, you can choose the forecast period, which is the month, and then the forecast type. If you have more than one that is active, you'll click show quotas. And then here's where you would be entering all of the quotas for the month of July for all your sales reps. You can give permissions to your forecast managers to enter in the quotas for their own sales team. Now, if you have a large sales team, you're going, no way, Cheryl, I am not entering these by hand. It's going to take me hours or years or months. We're going to show you in another video how you can import quotas using data loader in minutes. Highly recommend that you go this route, but we're going to show you the manual way right now. Go ahead and jam out to some tunes while we enter all these values by hand so you can see what it looks like in the forecast tab. Okay, we finished entering all of our quotas. Let's come back to our forecast tab and let's hit refresh here. Oh, look at what we can see now. We can see how close we are to goal. It looks like we're 30%. And then we've got a commit forecast column, our best case forecast column. Our opportunities list isn't showing. I'm just going to refresh this. Okay, there it's showing now. So remember in the forecast settings, I showed you how you can change the opportunity columns that are showing. So that's this right here. Now, some really cool things that your users can do in this view. Whenever I hover over any of these things, you can see I get a pencil. So I can change the date, the stage, the forecast category, all this stuff right from the forecast tab. So it's a really efficient tool for your team to use to be able to keep your opportunity close dates up to date, make sure the stages and the forecast categories are correct. Now they can click on any of these boxes and you'll see that the opportunity list is going to automatically refresh to show all the opportunities that are contributing to that amount. So remember, we're using cumulative rollups. So our best case is going to include all the opportunities in closed and commit. Our commit forecast is going to include everything in closed and commit only. And then our open pipeline is going to be everything that's open, nothing that's in the closed column. Now, another cool feature that you have are your insights. So you can click this little square right here, and it's going to open up a panel on the right-hand side. It'll show you the number of days to close date, how many times the opportunity close date has been pushed out. It will show you the last 7 days or the last 30. And then it will also show you any meetings, calls, and emails that are related to the opportunity. So just keep in mind that those activities have to be related to the op. It can't just be related to the account or contact that the op is related to. So that's kind of a complaint about this little side panel. It doesn't pick up everything, but that makes sense. It has to be related to the op in order for it to count. You can also do some actions down here. You can create a task or send an email. So that's a nice little efficiency feature for this tab for your sales team. Now, some other things that they can do is they can hide if they don't want to see their percent to quota. It refreshes everything. I would think they would want that. That's like the best feature of this. You can make it round or make it not round. That's just going to put your decimal places in. So there's some other features there that they can mess around with. Then there is a grid option and a chart option. So the chart option, you can see, doesn't have anything. And it says to see how the forecast has changed this period, ask your sales admin to turn on historical trending. Now, what that means is we're going to come over here and we're going to go to historical trending. And then you're going to come to forecasting item and you're going to click enable. And then you can choose how many months to keep historical data. The most you can keep is up to 13. So definitely recommend you choosing 13 there. We'll click save. And then you'll see that this has been enabled. Then you'll come back to your forecast tab and you'll give it a couple of minutes. We'll see and refresh. Okay, it was a little longer than a couple minutes. May take up to like 10-15 minutes for this tab to show any information. We can see that we have two different drop downs. We have forecast changes, which shows a lot of info in how your forecast is changing from forecast category to category. It's also going to show you week over week what's happening. Now, if you change this to historical trends, this is going to show you how your forecast is changing over time with a month over month comparison. Some pretty cool little features that you can use. Now, if we go back to the grid view, we can see that we are on Calvin Claw's forecast. Now, Tara Hunter has 2 sales reps, and this is something that we want to point out to you because we're going to show you how to solve for this in a future video. When I go to Tara's forecast, I can see Calvin and Lila, who are Tara's direct reports, and I can see where they're at in relation to their goal. Now, what I can't see is an overall roll-up of where my team is at if I'm Tara. This is very important for sales managers, and there's a workaround that we're going to show you where we're going to load quotas into the forecast for the manager, but we're also going to show you how to make sure that it doesn't artificially inflate the quota. You can go about it 2 different ways. You can set up 2 different forecast types, or you can set up 1 forecast type and make sure that your reporting is filtering out the duplicate forecast quotas. So just wanted to make sure that you are aware of that little nuance here. And if your managers or directors are wanting that feature, highly recommend that you implement that before rolling this out, because this is one of the top complaints that we've seen within the forecast tab for managers. A couple of other things we're going to show you in a future video are how to add calculated columns. You may have requests from your sales team on, I want to see what's the actual dollar difference between my quota and my closed won opportunity amounts. They also may want to see their pipeline ratio. So you may have a goal within your team where they're supposed to have twice the amount of pipeline as their quota amount. And we can put in a calculated column that will show the sales team that amount. All right, hope we gave you a great foundation for setting up your forecast and quotas for your sales teams. That's it, that's a wrap. Be sure to subscribe to Blue Tiger Academy so you don't miss out on the next videos we are working on for our Salesforce Forecasting Series. We will show you how to import quotas using Data Loader, a must-have for those of us with large sales teams. Let us know in the comments below if you have any questions or if you'd like to see a video on a different Salesforce topic. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.